In the world of AWS, your security really boils down to a few key players. Think of them like digital sentinels standing guard over your cloud environment. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on these core tools that AWS gives you to spot trouble, hopefully long before it becomes a total disaster. But let's start with a question that's, well, it's a bit of a scary one. What if an attacker got into your AWS account like right now? How would you even know it happened? See, in the cloud, visibility is everything. Not knowing what's going on is one of the biggest risks you can possibly take. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the main challenge of cloud security, then we'll meet our three key players, CloudTrail, GuardDuty, and Security Hub. And then we'll see how they all work together to stop a real-world threat. It's kind of like a digital detective story. You know, the biggest problem in cloud security isn't what you'd think. It's not a lack of data. It's actually the opposite. It's an absolute flood of it. Your AWS setup can generate millions, maybe even billions, of events every single day. The real challenge is finding that one malicious signal buried in a massive storm of totally normal activity. It's the ultimate needle in a haystack problem. And that brings us to our very first sentinel. This is the foundation of our whole strategy, AWS CloudTrail. Let's call it the scribe. Its job is simple, but it is absolutely critical. It writes down everything that happens in your AWS account, no exceptions. And here's the thing you have to remember about CloudTrail. It is the official, undeniable record. Every single thing you do in AWS, from spinning up a server to changing a password, is actually an API call behind the scenes. CloudTrail captures every one of those calls, creating this permanent audit trail. It's your ultimate source of truth when you need to know what really happened. And the level of detail, it's just incredible. Seriously, think of it like a high-def security camera system for your entire AWS world. It sees every API call, every login attempt, every little change to a resource. And for every single event, it answers those four critical questions. Who did it? What did they do? When did it happen? And where did they do it from? Okay, so our scribe, CloudTrail, is just humming along, writing down terabytes of log data. But who's actually watching all of that footage? That's where our second sentinel comes in, Amazon GuardDuty. We'll call this one the Watchman. So GuardDuty's job is to be your super smart security analyst who literally never sleeps. It's constantly pulling in data from CloudTrail, your network logs, your DNS logs, and then it uses machine learning and threat intelligence to spot weird patterns that a human would almost definitely miss. It's all about automating that hunt for threats at a massive scale. This slide just lays it out so perfectly, right? GuardDuty is all about learning what's normal for your environment. So API calls from your office network? Totally normal. The exact same calls coming from an anonymous Tor network? Whoa, big anomaly. A developer logging in at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday? Normal. That same developer logging in from a country they've never been to at 3 a.m.? Huge red flag. This is exactly what GuardDuty is built to catch. And it's not just looking for random stuff. It's trained to spot very specific kinds of bad behavior. Things like reconnaissance, where an attacker is just poking around your defenses, or credential misuse, and even signs that one of your servers has been compromised. It's a really powerful detection engine covering a ton of different attack methods. Okay, so we've got the scribe recording all the facts and the watchman finding the threats. But in any decent-sized company, you've got security tools all over the place, all screaming for your attention. And that's where our final sentinel comes to the rescue, AWS Security Hub, or the commander. The reality for any security team is something we call alert fatigue. You're just getting hammered with findings from GuardDuty, logs from your firewalls, reports from vulnerability scanners. It is pure chaos. How in the world do you know what to look at first? It's basically an impossible job without a system to bring some order to it all. And this is how Security Hub fixes that problem. First, it pulls in findings from all those different sources. Then, it's smart enough to group related alerts together. After that, it gives everything a severity score so you know what's most important. And finally, it puts everything on one single dashboard. It literally turns chaos into clarity. Yeah, this quote really hits the nail on the head. The key thing here is it's not just about one account. Security Hub centralizes alerts from your entire organization across all your AWS accounts, and it even pulls in alerts from other security tools you might be using. This is how you get that true single pane of glass view of your security. All right, theory is great, but let's see how our team, the scribe, the watchman, and the commander actually work together in a real-world scenario. Let's look at the case of a compromised developer key. So let's follow the breadcrumbs. At time 0, a key gets stolen. Just 5 minutes later, the attacker starts using it from a totally weird location. Instantly, our scribe, CloudTrail, logs every single one of those API calls. Only 4 minutes after that, our watchman, guard duty, sees those logs, recognizes the pattern as a threat, and sounds the alarm. And just 1 minute later, our commander, Security Hub, bubbles that high-severity finding right to the top of the security team's dashboard. And that's the magic right there. Think about it. In a little over 10 minutes, this fully automated system went from a single sneaky action all the way to a prioritized, actionable alert that a human can actually do something about. That is the power of this strategy. So what's the bottom line for you? If you walk away with anything from this, it should be this minimal, viable shield. First, turn on CloudTrail in all regions. That's your non-negotiable source of truth. Second, enable guard duty across all of your accounts. That's your automated detective. And third, set up Security Hub to be your central command post so you can see everything in one spot. And that leaves us with one final and really important question. This system is incredible for detection. The sentinels are on the wall and they will let you know when trouble is coming. The question for you is, when they raise that alarm, what's your plan? Because detection, that's only half the battle.